Hello everyone, my name is Joseph and welcome back to the Popsicle Night channel. This video is sponsored by PTCGO the best place for you to get PTCGO code cards. Please use my code NIGHT22 at checkout so you can get a 5% discount. Help yourself out with the discount and thank you so much for helping support the content I create in this channel. In today's video, we're taking a look at Garchomp from the Brilliant Stars set. Garchomp is a stage 2 Pokemon with 160 HP, 1 retreat cost, and common to all dragons, no resistance or weakness. It has the awesome ability, Sonic Slip. If you evolve into Garchomp this turn, any attack damage or effect of attacks will have no effect on this Pokemon until the end of your opponent's turn. What makes this ability so powerful is that unless your ability gets turned off, there's really nothing that can stop it, so you're pretty much invincible until your next turn. This ability is great for stalling, and it gives you another turn to attack with Garchomp. It only has one attack, Dragon Blade. For 1 water and 1 fighting energy, it will deal 160 damage. However, you have to discard the top 2 cards of your deck. 160 is a decent amount of damage, enough to 2-shot all of the V-Stars and most VMAXs in the game. However, this one you have to be extra careful with because I have to warn you, this attack can deck you out, especially late game. So just be aware of how many cards you have left in your deck and plan out your attacks carefully. Also, attaching 2 different types of energies can be awkward, but there are a few ways to get around this. First, I've added a full set of Aurora energy, which counts as 1 energy of any type, and you can basically just attach another energy to power up Garchomp's attack. Next, I've added in 2 counts of EXP share, which will help preserve 1 basic energy. If your active Pokemon gets knocked out, you can transfer 1 of its energy to the Pokemon this is attached to. And Raihan I think will be the most helpful supporter in this build, because if one of your Pokemon was knocked out during your opponent's turn, you can accelerate or attach 1 basic energy from the discard pile to 1 of your Pokemon, and then you can get any 1 card from your deck. So don't be afraid to have 1 or 2 basic energies in your discard pile to set up for Raihan. Farfetch'd from the Brilliant Stars set is also a great addition to this build as a secondary attacker. Not only is it a basic Pokemon which you can easily put into play, but its attack Leak Lash is also really good. For 2 colorless energy, it deals 20 plus damage, but then it also deals 10 more damage for each damage counter already on your opponent's active Pokemon. So if Garchomp deals that initial 160 damage to a VMAX, for example, Farfetch'd would be dealing 180 damage to that same VMAX for a grand total of 340 damage, which is the max HP for most of the bulkier VMAXs in the game without any other buffs. And you don't have to discard any cards from your deck. But sometimes, however, our attacks will just not deal enough damage, so I added in 1 copy of Zigzagoon with the Headbutt Tantrum ability. If you put this from your hand to the bench, you can deal 1 damage counter to 1 of your opponent's Pokemon. So wherever Garchomp falls short of 1 or 2 damage counters for a knockout, Zigzagoon may just be able to finish the job with its ability. And you can reuse its ability with the help of the Scoop Up Net. As for consistency, I have Snorlax with the Gourmandize ability, which allows you to draw cards until you have 7 in your hand, but your turn ends. But if you want a different draw engine, however, I would recommend Bibarel. And I also have Manaphy for its Wave Veil ability, preventing any attack damage from affecting your benched Pokemon. As for the rest of the deck, I have Escape Ropes as my switching option. Next is Energy Search. I like having at least 1 of this because you can get the specific energy you actually need for Garchomp's attack. Next are your typical Quick Ball, Evolution Incense, and Rare Candy to find and evolve your Pokemon. I didn't use Ultra Ball because I didn't want to unnecessarily discard any more cards from my deck. And for recovery, I have 1 Ordinary Rod and 1 Clara so that we can recover both Pokemon and energy. And I do have 1 Stormy Mountain Stadium. This can help us get our Gibbles set up onto our bench. As for my other supporters, I have Boss's Orders, Marnie, and since we are using Garchomp, we have to have Cynthia's Ambition, which allows you to draw cards until you have 5 cards in your hand. But if one of your Pokemon was knocked out during your opponent's last turn, you can draw until you have 8 cards in your hand instead. While there are a lot of ways your opponent can get around Garchomp's ability, for the most part, however, it still has a really powerful ability that can win you a lot of games. I definitely recommend giving this one a try. And that's pretty much it. You can find the complete deck list in the description below. And now please enjoy the following gameplay videos showcasing this Garchomp. Alrighty, on to our first match. We are going first, and as much as possible you do want to go first with this build because we are dealing with a stage 2 and there's just a lot of setup that is involved, so make sure you go first if you have the choice. So we are starting off with 2 Gibbles right now. We also have Stormy Mountains. We could get another Gibble with that, so we'll have 3 of them set up. And we have Marnie to draw into more cards on our next turn, but other than that, that's pretty much it. We are going up against a Raichu V. So this is a very explosive build. can hit for a lot of damage, tons of damage, especially with the Flaffy. Raichu V has to discard as much lightning energies as it can so that it deals a lot of damage. I think I'm just gonna use Escape Rope for the meantime. That way I can divert them from attacking. Hopefully they can't retreat the Pokemon they're gonna switch into. And at least we can stall for another turn or two with that. And we're just gonna switch into another Gible. Hopefully we can disrupt their hand if they can't switch into anything. Then hopefully this will buy us another turn so that we can set up our Garchomps. We have a Manaphy, and we can evolve into a Gabite. And we don't have any energies on the discard pile, which we will need at some point so that we can use Raihan if my opponent knocks out one of my Pokemon, which they are actually set up to do so already. So I'll just probably discard the Water Energy for now. And I'll just get another Gible from our deck to set up on our bench. So my opponent is getting set up real nicely here, and they're actually using our stadium to set up another Flaffy line, which is not good. And they can actually get a Raichu V with that Stormy Mountain as well. So yeah, we have we have a dead hand right now, so this is not looking good. If they can switch out their Flaffy, they can start attacking, but that's good that they're not able to attack just yet. But we are relying on a top deck here. I'm just gonna get Snorlax. We just gotta figure out how to switch this Gible out of the active, and we can draw with our Snorlax with its Gormandize ability. But right now we are dead drawing. We have no cards on our hand, and we got nice. We got a Marnie from our top deck, dude. That was a huge save. Thank you, Marnie. So now we have another Gabite to evolve into. Put this EXP share and Water Energy. We can also scoop up our Gabite so we can put our Snorlax in the active so that we can use Gormandize, drawing to a lot of cards. So we are in a good position now. Nice setup here. If they do manage to get their Flaffy out of the active, they're most likely to attack with their Raichu V. And hopefully they don't knock out my current Gabite with the energies on it, but that's okay. Even if they do that, one of that energy is going to transfer to my other Gabite with the EXP share, and then we can also use Raihan to accelerate energy and go from there. So they're going to be able to switch out their Flaffy into their Raichu V, and they have a strong draw support as well with Bibarel, getting them 5 cards each turn. And primarily I actually had Bibarel with this deck build along with Snorlax, and that was good, but I felt like I needed more room in my deck to kind of set up for my Garchomp. So I took out Bibarel because that's 4 cards in the deck, and I just put 2 Snorlax instead. And that's what's nice about Snorlax. It's just a basic Pokemon, a good draw support. It ends your turn, but very powerful. So they're gonna knock out my Snorlax so we can use our Raihan. And let's see here, just gonna make sure. Yeah, we will have to get our Garchomp here so that we can evolve. And that's gonna allow us to use its ability, making it invincible for this turn. Hopefully they won't be able to switch it out. If they have a boss, they can just target one of our benched Pokemon and get a knockout that way. However, if they do not, then we should be safe. So as of right now, I think all we could do is just attack. So Dragon Blade for 160, that discards, and try not to forget to check your discard pile so that you can see what was discarded when you attacked with Garchomp. So now Garchomp is invincible. They won't be able to attack it. Again, unless they have like a boss's order to switch out one of our benched Pokemon, they won't be able to hit our Garchomp with anything. So pretty neat ability, actually. A very strong ability. Really good for stalling. And if they can't knock out your active, you can pretty much two-shot any V-Star or even most of the VMAXs that has 320 HP. And I actually want to set up a Farfetch'd here, and my opponent's just going to end their turn. And speaking of which, we actually got a Farfetch'd from our top deck. So my opponent just passed because they know they really can't damage my Garchomp anyways. But now at this point, it is vulnerable. And they can take a prize if we leave it in the active. We can knock out their Raichu V, but they're just going to knock it out on their next turn. And as of right now, we don't have any drawing option. And I'm thinking of just scooping up this active. Although we're going to lose our energies, at least we have a Garchomp that is invincible this turn. And we're just going to try and set up another line of Garchomp on the bench. And then I'll just attach this, discard that. And then I'm just going to knock out this Raichu V for another 160 damage. We get 2 prizes for that. We got a Snorlax and a Raihan, which actually is really useful. We can recycle one of the energies from the discard pile when we use Raihan. Although, hopefully, they don't knock out any of our Pokemon here. But even if they do, we should be able to use Raihan, accelerate another energy, and search for a Garchomp to evolve into and continue to attack. And they're just going to pass. They won't be able to damage our active once again. Either that or they can't retreat their Flaffy. I do have an Ordinary Rod, but I need that energy for my Raihan, and we should have more Garchomps in the deck. So for the meantime, I think I'm just going to use this Boss's Order to hit this Raichu V with my Garchomp for 160 damage. And I think if we just knock out 2 of their V Pokemon, we should get our last 4 prizes that way. Even though they knock out our Garchomp, we have Raihan. We can get another Garchomp, build up our Gabite already on our bench. It already has 1 water energy, and we should be able to knock out this Raichu V, and also we will be invincible for a turn. So we should be good in the next few turns. And we actually got a fighting energy from the top deck, which is really nice. So we can energize our active. And I think I'll just use Raihan to power up my Farfetch'd. We only have 1 more Garchomp in our deck, which we actually need. So let's evolve our active. We can activate its ability. We're invulnerable. And I will have to use Ordinary Rod here. And I think I'll just get Garchomp and a Gabite. We already have 2 Gibbles on our bench, so we don't need any more Gibbles. And I'll just get the water energy. We don't have any more Gibbles, but that's fine. And I'll just attack for 160 damage. Dragon Blade knocking out this Raichu V for another 2 prizes. Very nice. And we got a Raihan. That's really good. We got another Raihan from our prizes. And that's going to set us up for our next turn. Although, yeah, that should be good. Because even if they knock out, for some reason, they get to knock out my Garchomp. We have Rare Candy. All we need to do is find another Garchomp. We have Energy Search, which counts as an energy. And then we can accelerate 1 more energy with Raihan from the discard pile to 1 of our Garchomp. So we are actually looking good here. Again, my active is invulnerable or invincible right now. So doesn't matter what they do here. Build up energy all you want. Our Garchomp is not going to get knocked out. And they're just going to pass. They know that whatever they do, it's gonna be futile. So we have water energy. We can't use Raihan. We should have 1 more boss somewhere. So I'll just start building up one of my Gabite or my Gibbles here. And I'll just knock out this Flaffy. We can't really select any of their Pokemon. So either way, ooh, we got a Boss's Orders, dude. That could be our winning card here. Although, you know what? We might have to use Raihan. Because we won't be able to evolve into a Garchomp. We need to find a Garchomp Unless we get it from our top deck, that would be insane. So they're gonna attack, knock out my Garchomp. They are getting 1 prize off of that, but they have 3 more prizes to go, which is a long ways to go for our opponents. So if we can set up properly here, we should have this game in the bag. So we have a Garchomp. Yeah, we have no choice here but to use Raihan, accelerate fighting energy, get our last Garchomp from the deck, use Rare Candy to evolve, again use its ability to become invincible, and we have a chance to attach an energy to our Farfetch'd, deal 160 damage to our opponent's active Raichu V. So unless they have a boss here, they're gonna boss one of my benched Pokemon. They're just gonna knock out Manaphy, but you know what? That's game, dude. We're gonna get our last prize here. I'm just gonna put my Farfetch'd in the active Lee Clash for 180 damage. Man, not bad. Good game, dude. Good game. Alright, moving on to our next match. We're moving through this fairly quickly. I have Snorlax in the active. I have 2 Farfetch'd set up. And I think I'll just energize my Farfetch'd here, discard that, and I'll just Gormandize for 3. Yeah, I feel like you only need 1 Farfetch'd at a time, and I'm thinking I have to set up more of my Garchomp line because that's what's gonna keep us alive throughout the game. But we just have to set up in the next few turns. We do have Stormy Mountain, so we can get our Gibble. And we also have Quick Ball. So we are going up against a Reshiram Amazing Rare, which is actually pretty explosive, especially with the new cards from Brilliant Stars. It can accelerate fire energies, and I'm sure they have a Flaffy line somewhere. So at least we have 2 Gibbles all set up on our bench. I'm just gonna use Marnie. And we have a few more energies that we can use up here. Let me just discard one of these energies, get another Gibble. And that discarded energy is actually going to be set up for our Raihan, so we can use it later on. I'm just going to Gormandize here for more cards. We don't have any rare candies, so it might take a few more turns to evolve into our Garchomp. But if we can stall, that would be nice. Although if my opponent can set up their Reshiram really quickly, if they have a Magma Basin, although their fire Pokemon has to be in the bench to do that, I don't think they'll be able to attack this turn just yet. But they have a very strong draw engine. Bibarel can draw 5 cards, and they also have the Flaffy line. But most of the setup actually comes from the bench. So the Magma Basin only accelerates fire energy to a fire Pokemon on the bench, and also Flaffy can accelerate lightning energy only to the bench. So their setup is a little awkward, but that's going to give us an advantage, sort of, so that we can set up even more. I'm just going to use the Evolution Incense. At least I have 2 Gabites all set up here, and I think I'm just going to Gormandize. They can knock out my Snorlax, but that's fine, because once we evolve into a Garchomp, we can actually we'll have a chance to knock out 2 of their Pokemon. Especially their Reshiram only has 120 HP. Garchomp can knock out 1 Reshiram with just a single attack, which is really nice. And with the invincibility, they won't be able to knock out our Garchomp. So whatever they put in the active, we have a chance to knock it out. So we can have 2 prizes in 2 successive turns if they can't switch out our Garchomp. Because the only way to get around Garchomp's ability is either you turn off its ability, or you can boss one of my other benched Pokemon that is not invincible. So they're going to knock out my Snorlax, and Reshiram's attack actually does 60 damage to itself, which is very self-destructive. Very powerful attack, but You know, you can only attack twice with this Reshiram, technically. So I'm just gonna get another right hand with my right hand. I have enough energy and I have a free attachment here. Just discard the quick ball. And I think I'm just gonna attack. Dragon Blade 460. We did discard another Garchomp though, but we do get a prize. We got a rare candy, which is really nice. We might be able to use that later on. But now my active Garchomp is invincible. So that's really nice. So with right hand ready on our hand, even if we attack with this Garchomp, they can knock it out on their next turn. But with right hand, we should be able to evolve into another Garchomp. So if we just keep up with that strategy or that lineup of moves, you know, knock out one Pokemon, become invincible, knock out another Pokemon. We're taking 2 prizes each time they take one. So the price exchange, I think we have the advantage. So if we just keep that up, we should be fine. The only obstacle I think we'll have here is with Entei V, because that one has more HP and we can't really one-shot it with Garchomp. And they might just be able to stall with it, but we'll see how it goes. They're using Choice Belt, but you know what, that's not gonna be useful against us, and they're just gonna pass knowing that they cannot knock out my Garchomp and they have no way to switch it out. So it's our turn now. We do have an evolution Incense. I can evolve into another Garchomp and then just retreat my active. And that's gonna stall us a little bit, but I think I'm just gonna knock out their Flaffy. We're just gonna sacrifice this Garchomp in the active, and that should be fine because they're gonna take 1 prize. We knock out their Reshiram. We become invincible, and we can weaken the next Pokemon, which most probably is gonna be Entei. That's probably what they're gonna switch into next. And we could just 2-hit KO it at some point with the help of Raihan. And Raihan actually is the MVP supporter card in this deck. I actually would like to have 4, but you know what? You can't really have 4 Raihans because it's gonna lower your probability of getting a draw support card. So we're gonna evolve into Garchomp. We're gonna be invincible for 1 turn, and I'm just gonna prepare my Garchomp, and I'm gonna use Raihan, accelerate the fighting energy, which we will need to attack, and let's see what we can get here. I think I'll get Ordinary Rod. We will have to recover some of our other Pokemon. We have 2 Garchomps. Not so much the energy, but we could. But we do need a Garchomp. Let me just energize it because we can attach an energy. Might as well. And we're just going to knock out their Reshiram for another prize. We are taking 1 prize at a time, but that's fine. If we can get 2 prizes off of this Entei V, that would be nice. And that's going to leave us with just 1 prize card. And there's the weakness. Boss's Order. They're just going to switch our Gible into the active. And that actually messes up our sequence here, because now not only are they taking away one of our other attackers, our Garchomp on the bench will become vulnerable in the next turn. So that's the only weakness we have here. And I think Escape Rope is probably going to be a weakness at some point. I mean, we can add that energy to our Farfetch'd. It's not going to deal enough damage. So, ooh, we get a Clara. Nice. That's actually very useful. So I'll just use Clara, get a Gible, and we do have a rare candy, so I might as well just get a Gible and a Garchomp. And might as well get this energy. So now at least I have a backup attacker. I'll use Ordinary Rod to get another line. Get a bite. in case we run out of rare candy. Gabite is actually really useful. That's why I have 2 in this build. Discard this in case we draw into another Raihan. And I'm just gonna Dragon Blade, I think 460 damage. We're not gonna knock it out, but you know what? It sets it up. Farfetch'd can knock it out on the next turn if my opponent's not careful. So we have a few win conditions here. We're pretty much evenly matched as far as our prize exchange. So they have 3 left. We also have 3 left. They're gonna knock out our Garchomp. And actually Farfetch'd is good against Reshiram because now it's dealing 60 damage to itself. And Farfetch'd can basically just double its damage, knocking it out. We do have EXP share. I'll just transfer 1 energy. Why not? So that's gonna get them 1 prize. I think we can still win this though. I'll just put my Gible in the active. We can evolve into a Garchomp. We do have rare candy. That's gonna make us invincible for a turn unless my opponent has a boss. Yeah, I'll just use Dragon Blade. Might as well. 160 damage. Knocking out their Reshiram, getting us 1 more prize. We got a Zigzagoon. Not quite gonna help us to knock out their Entei V though, so I should have a boss somewhere. If we can just boss that Entei, and we can attack with Farfetch'd and knock it out, and get our last 2 prizes. I actually put Lumineon in this build too, because sometimes you do draw really poorly. So I thought having Lumineon would be good, but in a lot of cases I started with Lumineon as a starting Pokemon, which is really bad, and it became a liability where my opponent can just get 2 prizes from it. So I removed it completely and then just relied on Snorlax to draw me into a lot of cards. So they are gonna switch into Entei V. I don't know why they did that, but if they attack with it, we can just knock it out with our Garchomp and win the game, getting our last 2 prizes. I do need a boss though if they do end up retreating their Entei, which I don't know if they're gonna be able to, because it has 3 retreat costs. And if they don't get it out of the active, we're just gonna win this game to get our last 2 prizes. And sure enough, they're just gonna attack my Farfetch'd and they're gonna scoop. There you have it, guys. Wow, good game. Alright, let's get into another match. I will be able to go first, and we're gonna start off with a Farfetch'd to go into the active. And scanning through all the cards I do have Stormy Mountains. We could set up our Gible that way. We also have Energy and Marnie to draw into more cards on our next turn. We did get a Quick Ball from our top deck, so I could use that too. For the meantime, I'm just going to set up my Gible. Let's get a Snorlax here. And then what I'm going to do is retreat my Farfetch'd, and I'm just gonna Gormandize. What's nice with Farfetch'd too is that it only has 1 retreat cost, so it's easy to get it out of the active, which is really nice. So we got a few bosses orders, which we actually don't need, so we might have to use Marnie on our next turn. And yeah, no Professor in this build because you really want to preserve a lot of your cards throughout this game. And the fact that Garchomp discards a lot of energy or a lot of cards, you don't want to discard any more cards unnecessarily. That's why I also didn't have any Ultra Balls in this build, because you just want to preserve as much of the cards in your deck. And with Marnie, you can actually shuffle a lot of your cards on hand back to the deck. Should you need more cards in the deck when you attack with Garchomp, because when you attack, it discards 2 cards. So always keep that in mind. I've lost a lot of matches with this Garchomp when I forget that you have to discard 2 cards. And late game, dude, I always deck out. So yeah, you know, it keeps you constant. You constantly have to be aware of the fact that you're gonna lose a lot of cards along the way. But we are facing off against a single strike Urshifu VMAX, I guess. We use Quick Ball, set up some more Gibble. I don't know if I want to evolve into Garchomp yet because it's really not gonna make any big difference. So I think I'm just gonna Marnie. Hopefully that's gonna shuffle back some of my opponent's cards and mess them up a little bit. I'll just put Snorlax, another Snorlax into play just in case. And we're just gonna Gormandize. So at least one of our Gibble has energy already, so we can attack on our next turn. We just have to get our Snorlax out of the active. And so if we evolve into Garchomp, we're gonna be invincible for one turn. And we're gonna be able to attack. So they're also using a Umbreon VMAX. So with that ability, they can just boss one of our Pokemon in the bench, and that's gonna be really bad actually, because if we set up a Garchomp to go into the active to block their attacks, they can just use Umbreon VMAX to switch one of our Pokemon from our bench to the active, and then they can knock out one of our Pokemon that way. So we'll see how this goes though. They're gonna Professor's Research. So with two Houndooms in play, they are going to be able to accelerate a lot of energies to their attacker. But with Houndoom in the active, it's going to be hard for them to get it out of the active unless they have Air Balloon or something. So let's see which one they're going to try and energize. They're going to energize their Urshifu V and their Umbreon V. Okay. They're just spreading out the energies that they have. But they're not going to be able to attack just yet. I have to get my Snorlax out of the active though. That way we can get a head start in our prize exchange. So I'm going to evolve into Garchomp. And hopefully I can draw into a switching option here with my Marnie. Ooh, we have an Air Balloon, but that's really not going to help my Snorlax to retreat. If we were able to attach an energy to Snorlax, we can retreat it. Might as well just put it on my bench Snorlax. I'm just going to Gormandize. Why do I have an Air Balloon? Oh, you know what? I forgot to take it out because I was experimenting on the Bibarel line with this build. And it is recommended that you have Air Balloon because Bibarel has 2 retreat costs. Sometimes your opponent stalls that way when they boss your Bibarel in the active. And if you can't get it out of the active, they can set up their board for a few more turns. So it's good to have Air Balloon. They're going to evolve into Umbreon VMAX, but they're going to switch my Garchomp in the active. But I don't know if they realize this, but my Garchomp is invincible right now. And they're going to use Marnie. I wonder if they're going to be able to attack here. They have Air Balloon on their Houndoom so they can retreat it, and an energy on their single strike Urshifu V. I mean, if they can accelerate one more energy, evolve into a VMAX, they can knock out my Garchomp, disregarding any effect on our Pokemon. But let's see. Are you gonna attack? They are they are gonna attack for 0 damage, dude. Yeah, I do make mistakes like that too. I don't read the text, but either way, they wouldn't have been able to deal any damage to my Garchomp anyways. At least I was able to finally use my Cynthia's ambition, so that's really nice. Cynthia is actually not as useful in this build, in my opinion, but you just have to have it because it is Garchomp. They're just well suited for each other, you know. But 180 damage to their single strike Urshifu. If they evolve into a VMAX, we can actually knock it out with our Farfetch'd. But that leaves my Garchomp vulnerable at this point. And they have Umbreon VMAX ready to attack. They just need 2 energies. If they have Urn of Vitality to get 2 of their single strike energies back to the deck, they can accelerate it with the Houndoom. But if not, we should be safe for another turn. And what's nice about our hand is that we have Raihan and a rare candy. And that's going to get us 2 turns to attack. But they're going to Marnie. And we get another Raihan. So we're set for life here. And we have EXP share. We can put that to our... Dude, they are not going to be able to attack. That is insane. So I can actually put both of these EXP share to both my Pokemon, Farfetch'd and my Gabite. And I'm just going to attack this Umbreon V, VMAX. And with the EXP share, that's going to preserve an energy onto our Farfetch'd. And we can actually just deal the knockout blow against this Umbreon VMAX. So they have two single strike energy in the discard pile. They should be able to knock out my Garchomp, but they're gonna lose 3 prizes in exchange. So there's the attack, knocking out my Garchomp, and we can transfer both these basic energies to 2 of our Pokemon with the EXP share. So we can put our Farfetch'd in the active, and look at that, we actually got a Garchomp from the top deck. I'll just evolve, I think, and I'll use Raihan, and then use Boss's Order. And I'm just gonna use Sleek Lash to knock out this Umbreon VMAX for 3 prizes. That's insane. We got a Gibble, which is great, Marnie, and a Manaphy. Manaphy is not going to be useful in this matchup, but the reason why I evolve into Garchomp is that I just need 2 attackers here. If they target my... if I didn't evolve, they can target my Gabite, get a prize for that, and we're going to lose an attacker that way. But as of right now, they're not going to be able to evolve into a VMAX, because if they do, we're going to win this game fairly quickly. They can turn this into a... They can turn this into an 8 prize matchup. So even if we knock out their single strike Urshifu, they evolve into another Umbreon VMAX, and they can attack that way, but they don't have enough energy to accelerate. And you know what, guys, we're just gonna use our Farfetch'd to knock it out, get 2 prizes, and with the Boss's Order we can just target one of their bench single prizer, and there's the scoop. Easy. Good game, man. Good game. And that's it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please don't forget to smash the like button. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and please consider subscribing to this channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching the Popsicle Night channel, and as always, stay safe and have a great day.